Hi, you guys. I'm always trying to explain that the breakdown is a process, that it was a plan, and it's been planned for a long time. Though myself, I didn't, I didn't really remember much about it until the spring of 2020. So I put together a slideshow for you to help you understand better the things that I'm saying, and hopefully you've seen enough videos to follow along. What that image is I believe that was from either the Super Bowl of 2007 or 2013, where they did the Mercedes-Benz commercial and they did a deal with the devil. Pardon me. And then this is the little thing that they signed at the end. So, and it said war, so I took a clip of that and put it in there. Since the spring of 2020, I've been hearing about, World War III, and it had a lot of things to do, as you know, with Prince and COVID-19 and NWO and World War III. So I put together a little slideshow for you to help you better understand my writings and why I see and hear the way that I do. This is an image of Prince, of course, and then these are just some depictions that just came to me. This was from the spring of 2020, with the X that we had to stand on the floor. It was telling me exit US, NWO, World War III, stuff like that. And I didn't know why. Now, this is really important because what had happened was I started drawing these things. The name George was being told to me. And as I broke it down, I saw the G in various places, like here with George Floyd. This was in the spring of 2020. And then here, of course, with the Illuminati Mason symbol with the 369 and the ruler. And then also I was seeing that the name George in gematria was actually, this is very important, you guys, the G is equal, it's GE or GE, which is 3, 6, or 3, 9, because in gematria, of course, as with a card, a playing card, the 6 and the 9 look the same. So in gematria, it's interchangeable. So it's as like, with the appliances, GE. So you have GE or GE. There's no choice. You never really had a choice. So you have to think about it in numbers. So it's always 366 or 399 or 369 or egg. Okay, so that's how the name George breaks down, because it's a code word. Okay. Now, really important to know, if you guys would please look, if you're not, you see how when you make 2022, this will all come together, I promise. 2022 on the left-hand side and 2022 on the right-hand side. You see how you make your 2 with the straight line? It can resemble an upside down 7. If you make it with the curly, it looks like an upside down 6. That's all I'm going to say about that. Keep that in your mind, please. Now, we're in the year 2022, of course. If you subtract 1914, which is World War I, the sum is going to be 3,936, 39, 36, GE or GE. No way that's a coincidence, you guys, right? Over here on the right with the curly 2s, if you take 2022 and subtract 1939, which of course 1939, 939 is also a form of George, see it with the GE, the 936, the 939. 1939 was when World War II was. If you subtract that, not only do you get, well, the way the gematria is done, you see 8.3, but also up here on the top, you see how when you subtract it, you get 19, 19. With the gematria, you can carry the 1 over and it becomes 1813 or 83, and that'll make sense later. But what I'm trying to tell you is they use the coding for the part of the plan. We've seen George Washington, George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., George Soros, George Orwell. There's a reason for that, you guys. It's all a code. These people play in plain sight. Now, if you take the year 1914, you guys, you can always remove the 1s. I don't want to be redundant, but I'm trying to remind you why it makes sense. 1914, you have 9-4. 1776, you have 7-6. 1939, you have 3-9. 9 plus 4 is 13. 7 plus 6 is 13. And I did that bottom one wrong. That's my mistake. That's what happens when I do this on the spot. Because 9 plus 3 is 12. But that's what was giving me 3121. But it also brings down to pi. Okay, but George, you guys, is not only GE or GE. Do you see here in the middle where my thing is spinning? Or GE. It spells orgy, okay? And it also spells George with a J or Jorge, okay? Please look if you're not, because there's orgy, Jorge, or GE, okay? Now, Pope Francis, his real name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio. I don't, my bad. But I want you to take a look at that because that also is a form of George, okay? So also with this, you guys, I did this on my Facebook. If you take his name, Orgy George Orgy, Georgie Porgy, okay? Mario Bergoglio, okay? Within the name, you have not only the George and the Jorge orgy, but you also have Magog. You have M-A with the Mario and then Gog in the middle, the Gog, Magog. That's the way I hear it. I'm just telling you what I hear. There's that face. I didn't do that. That's a picture I pulled off a line. You make up your own mind as to what it looks like. Now, in the Hebrew, of course, you can't really have a name for George exactly because of the way that the phonetics work. So imagine that something that doesn't exist that way exists in the English. Now, this may look crazy to you guys, but I'm going to break it down for you really, really quickly because it's the tree of life, except for what you see is a backwards 2. It's a backwards 2 and a backwards 5 because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the way I did this one, okay? Except for when they do the gematria, they do it backwards and upside down. So over here on the side, instead of seeing a 2 carried over, you see a 5, 5, and an 8. So they do it that way, make it equal 18 on that side. And then this says a G because it's 1, 2, 3, but in the Hebrew, the G can also be a 3. So it's not only a G, but it's a 3. So then it's 3, 6, and 9 down that side, or GE or GE. So that side also equals 18, which is also equivalent to 3 6s. So the reason that the George is so important, you guys, is not only, within the maths of World War I and World War II and all the things that I'm showing you, it's built into the tree of life, okay? Also, when you do the math the right way, but you suspend the 2 like they do, like Prince did in the Purple Rain song, if you add 3, 6, 9, you get 18, and skip the 2, as in the Purple Rain song, look it up. 8 and 5 is 13, so you have 18, 13, which is a biblical scripture that we'll get to later. Genesis 18:13, I believe, the 3-6 wisdom. So that's all in there. So again, they know this. That's why they play with the name George. That's why the egg at Paisley Park, and it's what it is. Also, what's important is when you do the gematria that I'm doing, you guys, I provided online. I'll provide again. It's Latin gematria, and that's where I get it. So if yours looks different, that might be why. When you take the gematria to the name Lucifer and you add it, you get 3, 3, 3, 6, 9, 9, 9. Same thing, egg. Okay, it's just built in. Also on 4/21. 2016, you guys, which was the said date of Prince Rogers Nelson, you can see that if you add 4 and 2, you get 6, 2 and 1, you get 3, 2 and 1, you get 3, and then 6 on the end. So you also get a form of GE or GE. It's Bob George. It's what he sang about on the Love Sexy CD. Now, here's a couple of things. Sorry, my camera's sliding. If you take 1777 and 1776 and add them together, and I'll explain the relevance of the 1777 to you here in a minute, you're going to get 3,553, which if you add 3 and 5 is 8, 5 and 3 is 8. It's the 808. It's Maui. It's the I am. When you add 22 and 21, you get the 431, which is relevant to the 314 pi. All right, these things may not all make sense right away, but if you watch it enough, it will. So here we see the 314 equals pi equation. Okay, and also if you take the year we're in, 2022, and you subtract 1776, you're of course going to get 246 years. That's why Biden is the 246th president. Okay, some of these numbers are only relevant to me. Of course, in 2020, when I woke up, the name George Floyd was all around relevant. You're on my neck, I can't breathe. And I saw myself, my hand was making these drawings, and I didn't know why exactly, but I was writing 2020 over here, which is Soros backwards. I was being told that it was a trick, a scam, a lie, a code, just something I made. Also, this was a drawing that was telling me that Corona was built into the Tree of Life, programmed in. This was just another depiction of the 369 as well. It includes some Prince lyrics, Positivity on the side. And Matrix is actually I am, tricks upside down. It's a lot of things. I was meditating on it and just going around. So, what's also relevant in gematria, you guys, because not only does 1776 plus 1777 equal 3,553, which is the 808, or the I am Maui, or the Quad City Moline Airport, if you take it and add it, you're going to get, if you add the 6 and the 7, you get 13. If you add 7 and 7, it's 14, 7 and 7, 14, so on. So again, it's the 314 pi equation, okay, over here on the right-hand side. But it's also where the K-hole hall gets their philosophy that the 144,000 K, which is KKK, will be the survivors in their coming kingdom rapture. Also with the 314, what was I going to say? 31478, skip it. But again, the numerals to 1777 are relevant, you guys. Here, let me break it down for you. You remember I was saying that the 8:13 and the 13:8 within the Tree of Life was relevant because in Genesis 8:13, the Bible talks about how the ark or something, I don't quote scripture, but the ark came to rest, or that something was taken off the top, and that was the 601st year, first of the month, year, first month, first of the month. So that actually gives us this 60111 across the top, which in gematria is 911 across the top also. But more relevant, you guys, Genesis 8:13 speaks of the 6-1, and then 13:18 speaks of the relevance of the beast when you read Revelations in the Christian Bible. Because of the numbers that I just told you, they're built into the Tree of Life. They know this. When they wrote the New Testament, they went from what was the true Torah and Genesis there, and then made it their own twist in Genesis 13:18 so they could tell their own story, is what I'm getting at. Now, also, it's interesting to know, if you're still listening, you guys, in Minneapolis, the Minnesota Code and Manner of Death is also 1383. Okay, the name, the address of the Minnesota Medical Examiner's Office is 14341 Ramesey, which is another form of pi, because it's the 341 equals pi equations. And Ramesey, of course, is the pharaoh name. There's some things that, here it is, you guys, what I wanted to say, and I'll show you again, is the reason 1777 is relevant is because the name King David is Dalet Vav Dalet, and I've explained that before. In Hebrew, the Dalet looks like a 7, and the Vav also looks like a 7. However, the Dalet is the 4th letter, and the Vav is the 6th letter. I don't know if you can see that down there on the bottom, so it would be 464, and we don't duplicate in gematria, so it would actually just be 64. Or if you turn that upside down, it's 9-4, which is the Genesis 9-4 coding for the K-hole hall, not drinking the blood with the soul still in it. So this just happened all at once. It's just how the writing comes out. Now, also, what I want to point out to you guys is the coding, it not only takes place, it's just right in front of our face, is what I mean to say. This guy, the cop, I think, who stepped on the neck, he got 21 years, which is 3 times 7. It's all within the coding. Now here, the George Floyd Square is at 38th. So they're using the 38 and the 13 and the 21. It's all encoded. Pardon me. This is just a picture I took at the Lansing, what I want to point out also, you guys, is the so-called Illuminati Knights Templar, Adam Weishaupt. They made their little group in 1776 also, which 1776 equals 21. Okay, it's because the name David, King David, it appears as 777. Oh, that's hilarious. Wait, this is how the name King David appears, as I just said. Oops, David. I should just say David. Okay, check it out. Even though it's Dalet Vav Dalet, their Dalet in Hebrew looks like a 7 with a safety pin on it. The Vav also looks like a 7, and that's why he has the song All 7 and We'll Watch Them Fall. So the plan is to take a king and watch them fall. It just is. So because 3 times 7 equals 21, that's why they're using the code 21, which when you turn the 21, see how this is a 21? If you look at it backwards and upside down, it appears as a 17, or it's also the pi symbol itself, pi, okay? So just try to stay with me. I'll show you. What I was giggling at here, you guys, is this when all this stuff was happening to me and I had been awake for like, I don't know, 4 days maybe. Yeah. So here, let me explain something to you here. Again, with the name, it's Dalet Vav Dalet. You see how it's written backwards at the top? DVD, okay? Dalet Vav Dalet is the 4th letter, 6th letter, 4th letter, okay? But because they appear as 7s in Hebrew, what you get when you add these over to the side, if I'm going fast, you guys, try to rewind because this is super important. You get 6 plus, I did that wrong. Let me skip that one. Sometimes that happens, my bad. And then I have to notice when I'm doing stuff live. Maybe I can clip it out. Anyway, you guys, what I'm trying to show you is why, or I don't know, just keep listening. These are the maps that I was drawing in the spring of 2020. This one, when you look at these, it kind of looks like Batman wings or something. I'm not really sure what it was, but what's relevant to know is I made them with every single beat to music. I was sleeping in a, I don't know what, and I was, every time I heard a guitar beat, I would make the drawing, and I wasn't looking at the paper or anything. And then this one over here, this black one, appeared to me as some kind of electric water with an 8 in it. I don't really know how that happened. But then the Comfort and Mercy ships were, you know, these drawings that I'm making here with the Prince symbol on top of it with the COVID laced into it. And it was telling me you got the horn, so why don't you blow it? And how Corona was built into the tree of life. These are just some of my drawings so you guys can see how real it is. Now, on the right, you have a map of Maui. I've been trying to explain and trying to come to terms with myself what Maui has to do with the creator, and I still don't have my finger on it all the way, but it's the reverse of I am. It has something to do with creation, the 808 that I was just talking about. And this is just Maui, as you can see, is shaped like the bust of a man and a head. Okay? I didn't realize it in the spring of 2020, but I was drawing this just kind of freehand, and what I was doing was lining up the stars of Orion. And you can see all the star names and everything. It was just freehand. I didn't know why I was doing it at the time, you guys, but I'm going to show you now. You know that we were always shown images of Prince that would look like this. See how he always would show his bust and his head? You guys know. It would, in the spring of 2020, I was like, why is Maui reminding me of Prince? What is going on? And, you know, and so I got these pictures together to show you in case you weren't familiar. Also, you guys, what's interesting about Maui, as I said, I haven't put all the pieces together, but I hear things. Halacha is a Hebrew word, and it means the way, also spelled halacha. in Judaism, it's the totality of laws and ordinances that have evolved since biblical times to regulate religious observances and the daily life and conduct of Jewish people. What was interesting to me is when you go to Maui, that the... Okay, so here we are at 10,023 feet. Check it out. This is Haleakala in Maui, the volcano. I'm going to let you check it out for a second. Pardon my heavy breathing, because, yeah. This is great. Okay, so here we are. Now, here's the twisty Roadrunner road that goes up. This is relevant, you guys, because I had this vision, this dream, this... Anyway, I just want to share this with you, and then I'll tell you. Here's the road going up. These are pictures I took while I was there in the August of 2019. Of course, it was my video and my heavy breathing. I want to show it. Now, I was stunned to see, you know, the NASA telescopes up there. So yeah, that's up there ruining the glory and the beauty too. But also it's interesting to know that in Maui, they make you pay to see the sunset out there. You get a bunch of rich people out there that think that they own the earth, and then they charge you a bunch of money to go out and see the sunrise above this volcano in the morning. So yeah, you can charge people to see the sunrise. Anyway, what's interesting, you guys, is a lot of it looks like the moon, the pictures that they make of the moon, the other side of the volcano. I believe the Haleakala, I may be saying that wrong. Here's some more. So here we are in a volcano, I think, and we're 10,000 feet up. We see how we are in the clouds, we're up above them, in this cool place. I just wanted to share that with you because of the relevance of the halacha and the Jewish and the Haleakala being a biosphere, and the fact that as part of the monologue song, The War, that Prince did, they talked about taking an RFID chip and all the natural resources running out and people needing to be in a type of biosphere. And to the best of my knowledge, though don't quote me, I believe that's what the Haleakala Reserve is, what they claim it to be. But I believe it's a lot more than that. Now, this isn't Haleakala. This is actually another part of Maui that is super relevant because I took this picture when I was out there. But then in the spring of 2021, 2020, this image of Prince was posted online. And he is in the exact same spot. See where the line is? That's where I cropped the picture that was online of Prince. And I put it on my picture of this portion here because it was in the exact same spot. So this is my picture and the picture that was online. So I put it on there like that to show you guys that I kept seeing all these images of Prince and I Am and Maui. And I was like, what the heck is even going on? So I didn't know what was happening when I was drawing these things, when I was doing these things, when I was hearing that the Comfort and Mercy ship weren't what they were saying they were. Why did Prince's head look like Maui? What, you know, what were these things that were happening? What did it have to do with NASA? Now, also, if you're not familiar, this is the, oh gosh, now I can't think of the name of it. It's silver sword. It only grows on this certain portion. This was an Argentine picture of it, but silver sword, it grows in Maui. And what it is it's DMT, you guys. So that's very important to know because even though they can tell you that the shamans, they can drink your tea and people believe that, you know, they go and see ancestor aliens and things like that. There's a lot of deep stuff that happens with DMT, but the point is there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the Prince investigation with drugs and DMT and Suboxone and, you know, a lot of things. Anyway, interesting too that Maui's state bird is the nene goose. It's the Hawaiian goose. And that and the silver sword are only found there. Okay, and here's a picture I took while I was out there. I don't know if it's a nene goose or a swan, but it went with my slideshow, so enjoy. But the point is, the goose is the state bird for Hawaii. You know how they always say mother goose, mother nature, mother goose? They make up nature. They make up things that are false and try to make it real. And so with the Maui connection, Like I said, it has to do with the reason that Maui is a naval base and they practice holographics and do a lot of things out there. And that's what I'm trying to share with you guys. This picture I also took when I was in Maui. I was surprised to see it at one of the art galleries. I had to take it from the street. It's super interesting, obviously Prince and Lenny. But what's interesting also, you guys, is what's over here in this down here. When you zoom in on this, if you have the opportunity, when I was in the zone and I was like hearing all these different things, this guy like looks like a little white mouse and he's holding the key, which I saw as the key to life and the key to knowledge. And then I saw this reddish brown, man, maybe I can get that closer. Hold on. Now, I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's what I saw and was told. I was told of maritime war, World War III, something to do with Asia, something to do with Prince, something to do with Maui, and all these things. Oh, look, there I am in Maui. Something to do, like when I was in Maui, you guys, I didn't understand why there was so much Asian influence there. And they call it Polynesian, and they say it's a result of the mixed cultures from World War II and stuff like that. And then, of course, we had Pearl Harbor back then with the 1939 plan and stuff like that. You guys, it's all a big plan so that they could take it over with the Dole pineapple fields and turn it into a naval base. Make all the people that are there work like slaves, just like they did here with the, black people and even us. So anyway, I started to notice all the Buddhist symbolism, all the Asian symbolism when I was out there, and I was like, this is interesting. So this all goes together. These are just more pictures I took while I was out there. And I just was like, why the influence? And now to me, this looks like the A or the Aleph, of course, which is 3 7s. They use it for Adolf or the swastika, the A. I explain it in the gematria. Those are all from Maui, you guys, all these pictures. And then, of course, they went out there and forced Christianity on people and built these churches and things like that, which is reminiscent of the song Count the Days that you can find on the Girl 6 CD. What I wanted to point out to you guys, that when Joe Biden was being sworn in 2020 there, everything was red and yellow, which were Asian colors to me. I kept seeing red and yellow everywhere. The lady that gave the little speech there, she was wearing red and yellow. Everything was like Asian influenced. And what I want to show you here is when you take the word and you write it that way, you have a couple of things. You have IA, you have 19, okay? You have 21 if you do it upside down. You basically have as is, or it represents a lot of things, but what I saw immediately was the 19, and then this S, of course, is backwards, and it's a 1919 on each side. And you guys, early 2020, I was reading these articles, and this is really important too. It was by military.com, and it was talking about shipping containers. This one here, it says shipping containers are commonplace around the Army, so units won't have to build special materials, to buy special materials, so they were using shipping containers. And then here, of course, they were talking about the toxic drop of air, or drop of oxygen, pardon me. And I had posted this on my Facebook, you guys. This article, the one day I read it, it said respirators. It said protective masks without a respirator provide no protection against the absence of oxygen. And then the very next day, they changed the word respirator to protective mask without a self-contained breathing apparatus. Literally did it right before my eyes. So I thought, okay, that's weird, because it was all when they were talking about everybody was all sick and needed respirators and stuff. So the military.com was talking about doing underground warfare in subterranean containers, and they needed all the respirators. So I was keeping track of this stuff. Now, trying to keep these videos brief, but these are just some snippets so you can see why I feel the way that I do. North Korea could accommodate the transfer of 30,000 heavily armed troops per hour. They built their regimental air base into a granite mountain. Okay, so they do things like this, along with Haleakala. For its part, Russia inherited a vast underground facilities program from the Soviet Union designed to ensure the survival of government leadership and military command and control in wartime. underground bunkers, tunnels, secret subway lines, and other facilities still beneath Moscow, etc., etc. Now, here in Asia, they're talking about the fishing fleet that has been in the Philippines, talking about how the military said if they sent anybody over there to get the fishing fleet out, they guaranteed that those people wouldn't be coming back. So they were having a presence there. And I threw this in here because it's just a post that I made on December 13th, 2021. And I was talking about the shipping containers and everything. I have been trying to bring this to people's attention because I keep feeling like something's going to happen. And even if it doesn't, I would be remiss if I didn't share it. You guys, these may look crazy, but what I wanted to show you was the 369 pattern. These are some of the random drawings that I was being shown to make in 2020. And this one here is 369, and it was telling me about the third temple ET experiment. You can see that I was writing the 314 equation along with December, which is my birthday, and all these codes. And it was speaking of World War II and World War III. Like I've told you before, I was hearing the word social distancing and the years 2020, 2021, and 2022, which were shown on the Pope staff or candle holder in the 2020 Easter ceremony. I've shown it before. These things were being told to me, and I was writing them down. I'm not trying to make them up. I'm just trying to share with you. These ones look pretty crazy, but it's an example of when I would write down Prince lyrics, still would stand all time. And all these other words would come out. COVID, Satan's DNA strand, slaves, Asia over here on the side. Like, I didn't do this. I couldn't sit down and scribble that if I wanted to. It came out of my hand, though. This was 9/2/20. This tells of maps, the man on the moon, sacrifices, Maui is disguised. It's like an upside down world is what I was writing. Again, World War III, www.com, World War III, WW is a 3 on its side. Again, these are just some chicken scratch notes. Was talking about military or maritime war. It was, you know, these were very early 2020 when I didn't know what was going on. Just wanted to show you. This is important because with the East meets West, of course, that would be us, the Western, and Asia, the Eastern. And when you do East meets West, you basically have the same word in mirror writing because you have 33rd degree gematria, or you have Mickey Mouse killers playing Mickey Mouse games. Mirror writing. Okay, MW, McDonald's, Marlboro, you know, milk, MK Ultra. It's all there. It's just coded. Okay, you can see how it says Hawaii in the middle. And that's because one of the names, Havaya, Baruchu is the blessed one. So they take the name for him and make it into Hawaii, and that's the I am, or will I am. It's all the same. It might sound kind of crazy, but if you guys have watched my other videos, you might understand. Anyway, these, again, are some very early notes. I just pulled them out from the ones that said Asia because very early on, I didn't know what was happening. It was telling me NWO, JWO organization, and then the organ grinder was also telling me the Vatican, the Vatican, the calf cow, the golden calf, the cow that jumped over the moon. It's the nursery rhymes, you guys. Everything that we know and we see is like a big movie. It's like everything is a movie. You got to think it as the life that you see on your TV screen and around you as one big cinema. Cinema. Instead of with an S, it's with a C. CINEMA. This town needs an enema. Cinema. It's how they kill our brains. Okay, it's how they tell us what our truth is. It's how propaganda is spread. Now it's done through social media. Anyway, this is what I was talking about. He said, if I send my Marines to drive away the Chinese fishermen, I guarantee not one of them will come home alive. They were talking about how all the boats are taking up all the place. They built the world's biggest Navy. What are they going to do with it? You got Biden standing here shaking hands, of course. It concerns me, you guys. I'm not trying to claim anything or call anything or be anything. I'm trying to make this make sense to you, why the breakdown, why the Prince Rogers Nelson planned the breakdown, was the 37th album and the third song. It's the 3 times 7, okay? It's the Ge or GE. When you get more into the Kabbalah, the Gematria, the way that this stuff works, which I recommend those videos if you want to learn more, you can go check them out. Just so you guys know, let me show you a few things. I don't know if you've seen this before or not. This was early 2020 when I heard the word social distancing and breakdown. You can see the song was affecting me so deeply that I started doing all this crazy gematria. This stuff happened to me. I did not do it. When I was breaking down the word social distancing, I was getting helix lies, all kinds of codes over here on the side. You can see the 3 times 7 helix lies of Lucifer. You guys, I didn't know what was going on. I was getting the 1776 Declaration of Independence. I was studying the Tree of Life. This is a drawing that I basically did of the Tree of Life, and I was in a trance, a complete trance when I did this, but it's one of my favorites because along with the numbers of the Tree of Life, it also has the Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, because the Egyptian music scales were changed to Western music scales, and the Tree of Life has been, twisted and turned in this world. There's a tree of knowledge and a tree of life, and that's why our Creator Hashem, blessed be He, tells us to choose life. You can see down here, this was early, I was writing, when did pi become, 314, 7/22, is 314, just all kinds of crazy stuff. I got my Bible out. I was studying lineage, as you can see. I was a good girl. I've done my studies. You can see my Bible is marked up. I'm not a crazy person. This is the work of a scholar wannabe. I was trying to figure out what was going on and why. You guys, this one always trips me out. This is when I was figuring out gematria, coding, what letters stood for what. You can see down here it says Burke or Barak, because my Rabbi, Rav Jor, that I listen to, he's always talking about Hashem of Barak.